It's Thursday, June 14th, and you're listening to The Geek at Geek News Central, show number 773, sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com. Save 25% on a one-year fourth-generation hosting account by using the promo code NAB. Get economy hosting for 3 months for $1.99 per month by using the promo code 199GEEK. Geek News Central is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Hey, folks, got a great show lined up for you. Lots to share, lots to talk in the tech world. You know what comes next. Strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We're go fly.
Microphone.
We're go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right. I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Showtime.
Aloha and welcome to the Geek News Central podcast, coming to you as live as it can be from the beautiful state of Hawaii via the Geek News Central studio overlooking Greater Honolulu. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. My name is Todd Cochran. Of course, I want to encourage you to get over to geeknewscentral.com. Check out all our great content. Of course, check out all of our archive podcasts. 773 in the bag here. And glad to be doing the show with you tonight. But, if you get a chance, definitely come over to the website at geeknewscentral.com. Get subscribed to the show. It's real easy to do. You find the information in the second column of the website. You'll find the RSS feed, Zune, Marketplace, iTunes, whatever your desire. You can get subscribed real easy. Sign up for our newsletter so that you get our show notes delivered directly to your inbox immediately following the show. That's the best way to stay abreast of what's happening here. And, of course, you can always reach me on all the social media sites and via email. You can reach me at Twitter at Geek News. That's the best way to reach me. Of course, use the hashtag Geek News in your post as well. And, of course, you can email me, geeknews@gmail.com. Our hotline is open. It's still open 24 hours a day. It's 619-342-7365. So, hey, everybody, how you doing? Welcome to the show. It's glad to be up and rolling here. It's been an amazing week in that I pulled, continuous 18-hour days. Being on travel, being gone, it's been mayhem. So I am been trying to catch up with everything that's been happening here, and it's been a lot of work. Last night I finished a RFP for an advertiser. I think at 12:20, I crawled into bed, and my wife is like, "What are you doing?" She says, "You are going to kill yourself." And when, of course, I wake up at 5, and when the alarm clock rang at 5, I said, okay, just 15 more minutes this morning, because it was a short night. So I'm a Red Bull charged up. We'll see how long it lasts here for the show. But anyway, thanks for being here. Hey, I do want to take care of a sponsor message right off the get-go here. And I want to remind you that we have a great sponsor in GoDaddy.com. And they're offering all kinds of products and services. And really, if you want to save a lot of money, really, you can find all my promo codes. And it's real easy by going over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You'll find all my codes there, of course, and they're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And, of course, we've got hosting deals for you right now, 25% off on a web hosting plan. So use that code NAB to save 25%. That really helps the show out a lot. And, of course, we've got the $1.99 economy hosting plan going on right now. That's normally $4.24 a month on a 12-month contract. So use $1.99 per month. Use that promo code 199GEEK to save yourself some money over to GoDaddy.com. I was talking with a guy this afternoon, and he was basically, kind of trying to figure out if he wanted to go with a dedicated server, if he wanted to go with some of their other solutions out there. We kind of talked back and forth a little bit. And I said, well, why don't you go ahead and set up, one of the premium accounts, get your domain set up, install WordPress, and, and see how it goes for a couple of weeks. And, he called me back like 30 minutes later and Todd said, hey, you could check it out. Go over to my, check my new website out. And he was up and running in like 30 minutes. I was pretty surprised. And he picked out a nice template on a template site he paid like $20 for, and he had something kind of, look relatively nice. and really up and running. He says, if I'd have known it was this cheap to get started, I would have done this a long time ago. But again, I want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here at Geek News Central, and definitely want to encourage you to check them all out. All right, what's going on here? Well, right now we're running on new hardware on the video portion of the show. What I did was at NAB, they announced the upgrade from the 850 to the 855 TriCaster. And it doesn't sound like a big upgrade. And what you're going to see tonight, those are watching the video portion, you're not going to see a big change in the production, but this thing is so much more capable in doing a lot of different things, recording-wise, and also in some CG graphics type stuff that we're going to be introducing, and I'll talk about that here in a few minutes. But relatively inexpensive upgrade to get to basically the new box. The other TriCaster had 2 years of wear and tear on it, so it was really nice to really get a brand new computer, brand new software. And so and the transition was easy. I just saved the sessions and everything and restored, and really it's up and running. And I'm pretty, so far, everything looks good. And we'll see at the end of the show whether or not I had everything tweaked right or not. But the main thing is we're up and running, and it was relatively painless to get starting. One thing, it's a project that I have to do in here that I've been wanting to do for a while, is put in some hanging lights here in the studio. Everything's been on tripod so far, so I'm trying to clear the stuff off the floor, so hopefully that can get worked on this weekend. I'm planning on doing a Chrome show this weekend, so you want to visit chromeshow.com. Of course, we're also going to be doing a Saturday morning tech show, so that's the first one in a while. So if you want to tune in, we'll be here at 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Honolulu, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and 6 a.m. Honolulu time. So even on a Saturday, I get up bright and early for you and put together great content for you. So one thing that we're missing here is one of the Ohana members that are longtime listeners of the show. I'm looking for his email. We correspond a month or so ago. I'm still looking to get graphics for the Ohanasaurus. You guys know my graphics capability is just like, I'm two thumbs. I don't have any graphics ability. So looking for some new graphics for the Ohanasaurus back there. And also we're thinking about doing some new graphic overlays. And because the system now can, fly in and do flipping media and all kinds of stuff on the video side, if you've got any graphic skills, just drop me an email, and looking to kind of put some stuff together and to spice up the video portion of the show and use some of these new tools that are available with the system. But anyway, that's kind of enough on that. And what's going on here, we'll get into the tech content here in just a second. But I do want to run one thing by you guys. I've got an idea for a Kickstarter event, and I've really been thinking about it, and I've actually, I've taken some notes. I've watched some of the sites that have done basically ideas for Kickstarters. And, I'm trying to figure out what level to ask to fund it at. And they always say, well, just, don't underdo it, don't overdo it. And I'm looking at the work I'm going to have to do. And I think I've got a number in mind. So hopefully within the next week here, I can get that all kind of put together and a nice video made and everything. But I am going to have a Kickstarter event that we're going to do as part of, well, I don't even want to say because it may give someone else an idea to get in ahead of me. But the plan is to announce a Kickstarter event here on the show in about a week. And we'll be talking about that and exactly what I'm going to be doing. As well as the studio upgrade is a work in progress. And, it's just like not enough days in the week and hours in the day. That's for sure. Burning the candle at both ends. So that's what's going on here. And of course, we hope that you'll become an insider and support the show by going over to geeknewscentral.com/insider. Now, one thing I do want to do is before we get into the regular content, we'll take care of our last sponsor message here. And, I want to thank the folks at Citrix and GoToMeeting. With summer here, and many of us spending more time working from home or all traveling or out in the yard, getting everyone together for a meeting may be just an impossible task. Vacations, kids are out, everything's going on right now. But don't worry, if you have GoToMeeting with HD Faces by Citrix, you can host a meeting with clients and colleagues face-to-face while online. Really, no matter where you're at, you can do it from the beach or from your car or from a picnic table at a rest stop. You can have a meeting virtually anywhere these days. And with HD Faces, you just need a webcam to turn your online meeting into a group HD video conference. And attendees can join via a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, an Android device by downloading the free app. And as a listener, a viewer of this show, you can try GoToMeeting with HD Faces for 30 days. And this is pretty slick what they've got here. All you got to do to try this is go over to GoToMeeting.com, click on the Try It Free button, and use that promo code podcast when you're over there. Again, GoToMeeting.com, and then use the promo code podcast for that free 30-day trial. And then, of course, don't forget to download the app. Now, they're giving away some iPads on Facebook. So all you have to do is visit Facebook and like the GoToMeeting page. Then you can enter to win one of those iPads. And if you can refer a friend as well. And if they win, so do you. So check it out, like the GoToMeeting page on Facebook. And again, you could end up using it on a new iPad. So hope you win. And definitely give it a try here. And don't forget to try GoToMeeting free today. So, of course, I want to thank GoToMeeting again for being a sponsor here of the show. And thank you for your supporting them. Okay, let's go ahead and jump right into the tech content tonight. I do have a pretty good stack of stuff for you. And one thing I had forgotten to do is I'd forgotten to tweet all their friends on the internet right now. And I'm going to go ahead and do that while we're talking here. And my wife's mom's getting ready to come from Japan. And it's been one of those things where all these little projects that haven't been done, we're doing them. So it's never a situation where there's nothing to do around here. And it's, I asked my, would you be doing all this stuff if my mom was coming? And she just kind of looks at me, gives me that look. But, it's, you can tell mom's coming and mom's going to be inspecting. So I've had a pretty huge honey-do list to do here for the past week or so. And this weekend, she's got, and Father's Day weekend. Yeah, forget it. One thing she did ask, she says, so what do you want to do on Sunday? And I said, well, it's, I don't really want to go out and eat because I'm always traveling. And I'd be honest with you, I'd rather stay home and eat. And she says, well, what do you want to eat? I said, well, my favorite food is spaghetti with meat sauce and meatballs. And I said, I want it done the way I like it, not the way necessarily you like, because she cooks it 2 or 3 different ways. And I said, and some garlic bread and we'll be good. And she just kind of looks at me. She says, you're so simple. I'm like, well, I'm a guy. It's easy. So she's been keeping the pastas and that type of stuff away from me for a while. So I'm looking forward to having a nice big spaghetti dinner on Father's Day. So I hope many of you dads out there are able to do that. Don't forget your dads as well. Dads, don't forget dads. And of course, the ladies out there, same. So, all right, let me go ahead and bounce into the full-blown show stuff tonight. And there's a couple of articles up. And I don't want to get right on the soapbox at the very beginning of the show. We did that quite a bit on the last show, really kind of bashing away at some of the announcements that were made by Apple. But the Dvorak, John C. Dvorak, has an article on his website said, searching with Google or AOL is patent infringement. It appears that one of these folks that have one of these broad patents are now going after Google and AOL, suing for patent infringement. Of course, in the New Jersey-based Suffolk Technologies, by New Jersey-based Suffolk Technologies, over Internet search summary descriptions. They're basically saying, in effect, the lawsuit asserts that every single Google search result snippet displays violates the patent that they've got. So now, every time you guys search, you're infringing on some company's patents. So be aware. That's out there. Someone, these software patents have just got to go away. It's stifling innovation. Think about one thing's for sure. Lawyers must love patent law. They really do, because it keeps them busy. Everything we hear right now is on something to do with a software infringement, and it just on and on and on and on. And it's getting to the point where you're kind of like, I don't want to hear about this anymore, and you move on. All right, this next article it was over on Engadget, and I'm trying to wean myself off them. What I'm starting to see on Engadget is just a lot of, I don't want to say cut and paste, but their quality is really, in my opinion, really went down. They're turning so much stuff out. They're not covering everything real good. And I've been trying to go back to the source. So the source article, this came from techon.nikkei.bp.co.jp. So this is obviously a Japanese a website. But essentially what they've done is a team from Chuho University has reportedly developed a new hybrid SSD that is supposedly about 11 times faster than what we have on the market today in these solid-state devices. And you think about that, as you know, solid-state drives are already smoking fast, but they say that this new technology combining NAND flash with what they call ReRAM is just doing wonders in that they're consuming 93% less power, lasting 7 times longer than standard NAND products, which, you know, what happens now is, SSD drives are just like regular hard drives. They only have so many read writes to them, and they wear out. But this could be huge. Now, the findings are supposed to be unveiled tomorrow, right here in Honolulu at a symposium on VSLI circuits. And I've been trying to figure out where the heck this symposium is. I probably wouldn't be able to get in if I want to. But if I can get into that, I'm going to try to go check it out and see what they have to say. But this is some pretty cool stuff, and it just goes to show you that Murphy's Law is not done yet. Speed, size, everything else continues to rock the house. And, at what point are we... did I say Murphy's? Yeah, I think that's not Murphy's Law. Where everything doubles, the speed of stuff doubles. I'm just call me a knucklehead. So we will watch where this leads to. Okay, so next up is some discussions that are going online right now about, remember that movie Precog, where they were basically, busting into people's houses moments before they were going to murder someone, and, they were using, that real fancy computer system, and they were, basically precognition is what it's all about. But what they're finding now in many of these criminal cases that are going on is that they are able now through digital footprint to go back and really reconstruct murder scenes just from what people are doing digitally. Yeah, it's Moore's Law. Thanks, chat room. Not Murphy's Law. Moore's Law. I'm a knucklehead. So here's the scenario. Around 3:45 on March 24, someone in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, used a mobile phone to Google chemicals to pass out a person. That's what they Googled. Then the person searched Ask.com for making people faint. Then they Googled again ways to kill people in their sleep, and how to suffocate someone, and how to poison someone. Now, if you're Google and you've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 searches that have come up and, asking that kind of stuff, if we're in the precog world where Google is watching for those types of tippers, they may be able to say, hey, we got some nefarious activity going on here. This person may need to be watched. And, that's right now we're not being watched in that way. But the phone belonged to a 23-year-old young lady. And later that morning, police allege that she and her boyfriend strangled 19-year-old Juliana Mentz as she slept on the floor of their apartment. Now, we know in Minority Report where they use precogs, and they use those mutant psychics to predict murders. We are at a point now where Google might be able, if people are stupid and are doing, searches on their mobile phones to find ways to kill people, and we may be getting to a point where Google might become the, the new Minority Report. But you think about this. This couple obviously was not very smart. If you think about that, they're using their own mobile phone to search chemicals to kill a person. Ways to kill people in their sleep. They're searching for this on their mobile device, right? IP's logged, data's logged, everything's being logged that we do today, right? So, first of all, stupidity on their part. But at the same time, you know, how many searches have you done on the internet that maybe you didn't want Google to know about? So, you know, are we getting to the point in time where there's going to be, Google's going to have to alert authorities to weird searches? You know, you just wonder if we're going to get to that point. One thing's for sure, if you do anything stupid like that, you're going to get, you know, you're going to end up in the slammer, as well you should. But I know none of our audience are searching, you know, terms like that. But there are people out there that are, that's for sure. Hey, Android users, Flipboard for Android beta has been updated with memory and battery improvements. So if you're using a Flipboard on a Galaxy S3, the folks over at Android Central, I mean, if those are that are Droid users, this is a site that you should probably put on your daily read list. Again, it's androidcentral.com, and I really like Flipboard. I do, and I like reading it on my iPad, and I'm sure many of you with the Droids like using it on your tablets or your phones as well. But anyway, definitely check it out. And if you haven't used Flipboard already, you're going to want to give it a try. It's a really, really nice app. Well, cord cutting has turned into a new word called, well, a new movement called cord trimming. And I kind of like this new movement. And, you know, it's probably what I should have done initially instead of cord cutting for a year and then having my wife mad at me for doing so, and then having her turn the cable back on because my cable bill, you know how much my cable bill is now with internet? $200. Of course, I got the high speed. That's $100 something for the super high speed internet, but $200 a month? Oh my God, it's killing me. So, and plus electricity's up again here. You know, this room doesn't help. I know that this room, and when I'm doing shows and everything, burns about $80 worth of electricity a month. But I got my electricity bill this month and just about passed out. 38 cents a kilowatt. So you guys look at your bills, you're probably paying 8 cents a kilowatt. 420 beep, 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 beeping dollars. And last month I was pretty happy because it was only 320, you know, and this month 420. I'm like, kids, shut off the lights, turn off everything. So, you know, it's I need to find some windmills and some bikes with generators on them. It's crazy. So what people are doing instead of cord cutting, they're cord trimming. And so basically, they've got some suggestions here where you can trim down the number of channels by getting Dish Network's Welcome Pack, going to Dish International Basic, using Time Warner Digital Basic. Option 3, negotiate a better price with your current provider, so you can call them and try to negotiate something down. And, you know, I'm not a sports guy. I could care less, you know, and some of the guys are out there like, you're not. And I've talked about this before. You can take all the sports channels and just get rid of all of them. You can, because if I want to watch any car sports, I can usually get those online. And, you know, get rid of, I don't care about ESPN. I really don't. I skip over it when and I know some folks, you know, you live for it, but, you know, ESPN's a huge part of our bills. But, you know, a lot of people like HBO and Cinemax and all those other extras that cost a lot of money. But if you're looking to trim, play the cord trimming game by going back and downsizing and see how it works out for you. See if you can handle the fewer channel count. All right, Jen, one of our great writers at Geek News Central, she put up an article talking about Facebook having a new plugin for sharing WordPress posts. I enabled it on the website, and I'm going to have my web developer kind of look at my template because it really did not cooperate. There's some CSS elements or something in here that's totally screwing it up. So, you know, basically Facebook has made a pretty impressive plugin here that will almost replace your commenting functions on your website, and a variety of other stuff. And it's extensive. They took some time to build this baby out. But if you're a WordPress user, you definitely want to check out this new Facebook plugin. It's really, really nice. And I have to use it on some of my sites that aren't as complex. Another thing, too, we updated PowerPress. We released it 4.0.1. That release went out on the street today for those of you that are content creators that are using our plugin. Now, along with that Facebook announcement, Scoble did something kind of interesting. He said, shh, my blog is coming back. Okay. Why? He's Google Plus and Twitter and Facebook, and, he hasn't been blogging at all. And, I'll be honest with you, at this point, I don't know if I care, because I still find most of my traffic and most of my interaction with the audience comes from the website, or, stuff that we posted from the website onto other sites. And but he says this new WordPress plugin is fantastic. And, he really likes it. So he's going to be blogging more, and he's hoping that Google Plus comes out with something so that as he's pushing stuff to his website, it also pushes to Facebook. And I'm going to have to look and see how that really works, because last thing I want is an entire blog post that is, basically done verbatim on the website and then on Facebook. It doesn't make a lot of sense. All right, how many of you are HuffingtonPost.com fans? I very rarely get over there to read their website. Huffington was built on volunteer writers with a number of paid writers, and then they basically, once they got successful, they basically flushed all of their free writers down the toilet and brought on more paid writers. But they have just introduced a digital magazine. And I'm thinking to myself, who wants to read a digital magazine? I subscribed, I bought, I did an interview a year and a half ago at CES with Zinio, and they've got an iPad app, and Zinio allows you to subscribe to digital magazines. So when I got it, I kind of went a little bit crazy. I got Consumer Reports, I did Scientific American, a couple other geeky magazines like that. So, I try to remember to sync and download them and make sure that I have them available when I go flying. But it just, even though the magazines are on my iPad, it's not the same. And, you're trying to flip through and follow articles, and it's just different. And I guess I just haven't at this point got to the point of using digital magazines that much and having it to be a good experience. So Huffington, which is basically a site that was built by bloggers and a new media site, is now reverting to being a site that has a digital magazine. I guess I just don't get it. I really don't. So what do you guys think? Those of you that are Huffington Post readers, are you subscribed to the new Huffington digital magazine and paying them $20 a year for the experience to do so? Hey, I should have mentioned this at the very beginning of the show, and I've probably already lost the folks that normally come in and listen to me talk about new media stuff at the very beginning. When in the recent weeks, I've been in contact with some mainstream media folks. In other words, just folks, regular, networks, the folks that are the ones we're battling right now in the basically in the space. And so, you guys know that, of course, I'm the CEO at Raw Voice, and what we're doing now is we have got some agreements in place, and we're working with national media networks, with a national media network that's seeking folks that do audio and video content. And this is a pretty amazing opportunity, and it's going to allow some content creators to take their shows to really to the next level. And we've been asked to facilitate the talent screenings and act as really the intermediary to the network. They don't want to deal with the content creators directly. They've asked us to kind of do the filtering and submit shows and then make the introductions and really kind of act as an agent status. And this is an opportunity for folks that are creating content to really to step into a national limelight through a mainstream media network. So what we started to do, and we put the blog post up today, is we're currently signing shows to represent them to these networks. So if you know of a content creator that you think is really outstanding, that probably is ready to make that jump to the next level, please have them or drop me an email at our talent email address at talent@rawvoice.com, and I would be willing to start that conversation with them. Hey, let's talk about the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice has finally woken up and realized that Comcast, Time Warner, are trying to prop up cable by holding back Hulu and Netflix. Surprise, surprise, surprise. This has been pretty obvious from all of us for years, but really the Justice Department has really begun to wake up here, and they have begun investigating Comcast, NBC Universal, and Time Warner to see if any of their actions with regards to Netflix and Hulu trip the antitrust wire. Now, Comcast, the risks are much higher because as part of their merger with NBC Universal, they made certain promises to the government concerning how it treats online services. And if they're not living up to their promises, it could mean big trouble. But, there's still pretty big animals out there. And it just goes to show you that they have the power to hold the networks in their grips and not let them go. So what we really kind of figured out is if, you kind of have to play a little bit of their game to work with them. And it's basically a way to help, part of our things that we're doing at Raw Voice is going to try to help content creators make the jump while the mainstream media is still up and running, and take advantage of that as much as we can. There's a big ruling today using trademark and artistic work can be protected under the First Amendment. So imagine you're an artist and you do a painting and you draw in a Coke can in a person's hand, or the logo of a college, or anything that has technically a trademark. What was going on were folks that were doing artwork for football teams and that kind of stuff, and selling, art, it's stuff that they had painted or, basically drawn. And they were getting sued because they were putting stuff in there that was trademarked. And this has been an issue for movies. It's been an issue for a lot of things. Now, on this show here, I have to be careful that what I have in my background is not going to be causing a trademark violation by having someone's a logo. You guys can see down here, I've got the GoDaddy logo, but they're a sponsor here at the show. And, so it's okay for me to do that. If they weren't, we wouldn't be able to show that. So what they're saying now is in painting, prints, and calendars, they are protected under what's known the Rogers test. The depiction of basically something like a university uniform in the content of items are artistically relevant to the expressive underlying works because the uniform colors and designs are need to be a realistic portrayal of famous scenes, specifically in what was went underneath the test from Alabama University. So this is good news, and it's good news for artists. They're going to be able to be protected under artistic expression, and artistic works can and are protected under the First Amendment. So finally, someone out there has had, some common sense. So much of this stuff we're seeing today is absolute utter madness. I don't know what people are thinking, and some of the ways that they're, some of the stuff we see in the courts, some of the stuff that we see in just everyday life. I just wonder if people have half a clue, and if they're really reading on stuff that they're agreeing to. Sometimes it really blows my mind. It really does. And, all of us have to just take a deep breath, stop sometimes, and read the fine print and understand what we're up against. All right, let's talk a little bit about space tourism. For many, many years, I've always said that if I had enough money, I would pay whatever it took to get a flight to the International Space Station, or, anywhere in space. That's just one of those things that, if you think about it, would be so awesome to do. And, obviously, it's very expensive to even consider it. But travel agents are starting to book seats on Virgin Atlantic. Now, this is not cheap, so you're going to have to save some serious dough, some serious do-re-mi, and have a serious job to be able to support this. But for $200,000, including a $20,000 upfront deposit, you're going to be able to book a flight on Virgin Galactic. So some of their space tourism stuff. Now, there's lots of projects going out up there. There's the Hermes spacecraft. There's Alliant Tech Systems. All these folks are working to put together different packages that are going to take people into space. So, it's not going to get much cheaper in the near term. And you have to be healthy enough to be able to, take the ride up there to begin with. So it's one of those things where, when you're probably at the age where you can afford it, you may not be healthy enough to go. So it's whether you borrow the money when you're young and do it and then pay it off the rest of your life and had your experience of a lifetime when you're young. It's one of those things you got to think about. But for $200K, you can book your ticket on Virgin Galactic. And I don't know what that all entails and what they give you, how long you're up and how, but it would, to me, I think it would be beyond worth it. If you can afford it, it would be. All right. Andrew did a great article over at Geek News Central talking about the new MacBook Pro, the one specifically with the Retina display. And some folks have been making some determinations that, especially the folks over at iFixit, the iFixit.org folks always tear down MacBook Pros and different gear, but they have determined that it is the new MacBook Pro with the Retina display is the least repairable laptop that they've ever taken apart. They weren't able to take out the battery. They said that the screen is like molded into the case. There's special proprietary screws that even to this point have been able to overcome that Apple has made. It makes it impossible to remove. There's been all kinds of stuff. You can't even take out the RAM. You can't change the RAM. You can't upgrade the SSD. There's just a whole bunch of stuff that they've locked in place that no one's going to be able to get access to at this point. So if you break this thing, it's done. So if you go out and buy the new MacBook Pro, buy the AppleCare. Okay. Buy the AppleCare. The iFixit folks gave it a 1 in 10 in terms of repairability, and it says it's virtually non-upgradable. So make sure when you're going to buy that thing that you pick out exactly the model that you want before you spend your $3,000 or $4,000 to do that. So anyway, that's where we're at with the MacBook Pro and the repairability of that. All right, let's switch gears here just a little bit. Let's talk about the folks over at SpaceX, and there's a great video. Elon Musk showed off the SpaceX Dragon space capsule at a press conference. I didn't realize this, but McGregor, Texas is where SpaceX has a team, and I guess they do some manufacturing there. And McGregor's not far from Waco. You guys know that from time to time I go out to Waco, Texas. So I'm like, definitely going to try to visit SpaceX testing facility when I go to Texas again, which may be in a couple of weeks. And so I'm going to have to find out what their visitor policy is and see if I can do a little press jauntlet down there for you guys and maybe get some inside. It'd be kind of cool, right, to go into the SpaceX test facility and get a little maybe one-on-one. So I'm going to try to see if I can make this happen. I'm gonna work it for you. But anyway, there's a good article on Slashdot and a video to go along with it. I'll have that link up in the show notes for you to check out. Of course, email me here at geeknews@gmail.com. Did you guys hear that? Did you know today an asteroid spotted by Australian astronomers missed Earth by just 5.3 million kilometers? So 2012, LZ1 was observed from Australia's Sliding Springs Observatory last Sunday. At around 500 meters in diameter, the rock was considered hazardous. So didn't get too close, but it was on the move and rocketed right on by us. So I'm glad that one did not make an an entryway into our orbit. All right. Hey, our UK listeners, we have a large number of UK listeners here. You know, the United Kingdom online monitoring law has just gotten published. And it has some disturbing facts and some things that you guys are going to have to be aware of there. You know, the paper is 123 pages long, and it's actually a draft of the communication data bill. And you're not going to be happy here to find out that every single thing you do online, every single thing you do online, mobile, from your computer, any way you connect to the internet is now going to be stored by, or be forced to be stored by internet service providers. And so that means anything that you do is going to have to be kept. Now, I don't have the timeline on how long that data will be kept, but wow. You know, it's welcome to the club, I guess. They're doing that here with us, so I guess it shouldn't come as a surprise that they're doing that in the UK as well, and probably other parts of the world as well. All right, Skype VoIP 4.0 is now available for Linux, so those of you that are Linux users, be happy the new version has been made available today. And they updated the Windows version, the Mac version as well. But Skype 4.0, code name 4 Rooms for Improvement, is really long overdue for Linux users. And the Skype folks thank the Linux users for being patient. So the main improvements includes much improved audio quality, video support, and improved chat synchronization. For video specifically, Skype has spent some time implementing support for a wider range of webcams as well. So if your camera didn't work in the past, give it a try now. And Skype has received a new conversation view, which brings all chats into a single unified window. All right. So definitely check that. I got the fan here in the studio cranked, and I've got a little remote control that does that. What's going on here is over the past 3 days in Hawaii, about twice a year, the trade winds just die. And when they do, the winds shift, and we get what's called a Kona wind, and we get fog from the volcano coming in from the Big Island, and the humidity just goes up, 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 up. So this entire week, we've been really no trade winds. Now, they're saying tomorrow where the trade winds will be back. So here, normally I get a nice breeze into the studio, and I leave a window over here open, and so it keeps the studio cool. And I very rarely actually have to run this fan. But tonight I've had this baby cranked all the way up, largely because the heat just, it's stagnant, doesn't move out of here. So, I know you're feeling bad for me, a little bit of humidity, because, we never really get too much humidity. But, going to Texas, if I have to go to Texas next couple of weeks, I'll know all about humidity, because it gets hot in the summer there. But with all these computers on, the heat does continue to climb. All right, this is kind of cool on the science front. A 10-year-old girl became the first person in the world to get what's called, basically a major blood vessel replaced by basically growing one using her own stem cells. Now, they didn't grow the entire vein on itself, but basically this 10-year-old from Sweden had a blockage of a vein from her liver. And the doctors decided to give her a new vein instead of a liver transplant. So this sounds pretty serious. And the team from University of Gothenburg took 9-centimeter vein segment from a cadaver and stripped all the living cells from it, leaving only behind a protein structure. They later then reconstructed the vein by using cells from the girl's own bone marrow. The graft was then put in the girl's body 2 weeks later. So this is some awesome stuff here that they're doing with stem cells, and just goes to prove that there's lots of medical advantages to stem cell research. And I know there's a lot of controversy about that here in the U.S., but, when you can save someone from a liver transplant, that's huge. I've been hearing recently, in fact, this is like the 4th article. Western Digital must have gotten out the campaign to get out its new line of routers. But, I've been reading, I keep seeing Western Digital has new hot and, fancy routers, and just all kinds of different titles. So tonight I had seen 3 different write-ups, and I wanted to kind of review what these folks were saying, because, obviously they're getting review units and you have to really kind of cipher through the layers there to see what people are saying. But if you're looking for, from what I've read, if you're in the market for new digital router, new wireless router, you may want to consider the N900. It's a new one that they've got out. And as always, I tell people to do your own research here. But they released 4 of them, a 600, 750, 900, and a 9000 Central. And these range between, from $80 on the low end all the way up to about $170, $180 for the N900 Central. But I'm just reading through this, and they've done some pretty cool stuff with this. In budget routers, you don't expect a lot of whiz-bang stuff to do. And most of us turn routers on and we just leave them and want them on. But what happens here is they've introduced something called Fast Track. Fast Track is some software that optimizes the routers for streaming media, such as internet video or games, but also can automatically detect and prioritize different kinds of media using traffic analysis. And with fancy routers, with the fancy routers they have, it's called Fast Track Plus. They've also got a cool quality of service optimization string. They've got the ability to do some network attached storage to these devices as well. So I'll just have the review up. I'll let you guys take a review. Take your own, basically do your own review. I have not got one of these to review. I'd like to get my hands on one, but potentially a product that you may want to check out. Western Digital, not only known for hard drives now, but also for wireless routers. All right, Acer, and this is really exciting. Considering we're seeing lots of stuff on the Sandy Bridge side on Intel. But what we're finding now is Acer, of course, Extreme Tech, Acer has come out with called their S5 Ultrabook, and it's one of the first with Thunderbolt. Now, I have a Windows PC that has Thunderbolt that's been on there for a while, so I'm kind of confused on why they're saying this is the first with Thunderbolt. But here you've got the Acer Aspire S5 has got not only the Thunderbolt port, but also has USB 3.0, and this sports a 13.3-inch LED backscreen, 256 gig solid-state drive, 4 gigs of RAM. It's not cheap. It's right up there with the Mac counterparts at about $1,400. And so anyway, this is cool that we're starting to see more Thunderbolt technology coming into the PC world. I'm sure we'll see a lot more as time goes on. And so what's really this is telling me is when you see Acer introduce Thunderbolt on a PC device, it tells you that they're committing to an entirely new platform. And, this is with a connector that has no backwards compatibility. If you don't have Thunderbolt peripherals, you have to have a port that you can use for everything else. And so hopefully, they'll continue to support the USB 3.0 stuff and adding the Thunderbolt on. So as new Thunderbolt devices come on the market, you'll be able to upgrade as you need. But again, it's not one of those things that happens in quick order because there's not a lot of Thunderbolt products out there right now. All right, over on ArsTechnica.com, the guy from WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has basically lost a court battle with the UK Supreme Court, and they've refused to reopen his extradition case. So basically, as a result of this, his extradition proceeding is going to move forward, and he may find himself in Sweden over those accusations of rape and sexual assault. So we'll see where this goes, but he's definitely on the edge here on being able to retain his freedom, but he may have to go to Sweden and face justice on the charges that are there. So we'll keep an eye on that. How many of your Opera users, if you use the Opera browser, Opera 12 has arrived and they've added webcam APIs and also experimental WebGL support. The new version also improves theming and adds support for DNT headers, which is some new stuff that's going on with web development. So if you're an Opera user, you definitely want to do that upgrade as well. WordPress updated today, yesterday as well. So the WordPress 3.4 is on the street as well. And a big surprise, switching gears here, the folks at Comcast have basically run out of patience with this huge number of BitTorrent lawsuits. So they have basically said, no, we're not giving, and we're refusing to comply with court-ordered subpoenas. But they saying that these peer-to-peer stuff, these BitTorrent lawsuits, are nothing more than a shakedown, and where subscribers are essentially coerced into giving up cash. And Comcast is basically saying, here's what they're saying: their new stance, claiming that the ISP is denying copyright holders. Basically the copyright holders have responded, and they're going to go to the judge and try to make them comply. So we'll see what happens with this, but Comcast has had enough, and I'm sure it's cost them a lot of money to do this research and pull that information. I'm sure it's big. So nice to see someone stand up for a change. It really is. Now, on the other foot, the United States government has equated Mega Upload to bank robbers. Of course, this judge that is over the Mega Upload dealio, he has basically said that he doesn't think that this case would go forward because of the U.S. government hadn't served them and everything else. But the U.S. government has responded to Mega Upload's request to dismiss the criminal proceedings and to return their money that was seized by the authorities. The U.S. attorneys argue that it's not a problem that Mega Upload was not served. He's saying, we didn't have to serve them. And he notes that it would be unprecedented to dismiss the case at this time. Well, they never served them. Okay, you have to be served, right? The government further objects to returning any funds to aid Mega's defense, as this was stolen from the entertainment industries. At least that's what the government thinks. So we know that there's some issues with this case. So we'll see what the judge rules on this one. With the judge having doubts that the case would ever go to trial in the past due to a procedural issue, this will be interesting where this moves. Ultimately, I think the Mega Upload folks will win this one. Well, time will tell. It really, really will. All right, a Juarez website, and those of you that don't know what Juarez is generally a site that has software, movies, and so forth. A Juarez download site called 1DDL has called it quits, citing legal concerns. I guess they're worried about being shut down like Mega Upload and arrested and put in jail and having their freedom taken away from them. But they're not saying too much, except that they have pulled the plug and got out of business. Now, this next article, those of you are going to laugh, because how many of you have had your iPad in bed with you and been frustrated? First of all, it's hard to get a good focal length when you're in bed, wearing your glasses, propping the thing up and everything. Well, there's a new product out called TabFit. And TabFit can help you with your iPad when you're laying down. And basically, it's just a little holder. It's a little thing that straddles your body, holds your iPad. You can put it in different positions. There's a little holder for it. And you don't have to sit there and hold the doggone thing. You can just put it in the holder and use it. Now, I showed this to my wife, and she says, you're not buying that. This is not happening. It's $55. I don't need another gadget, laying around the house. This thing's just going to get in the way. But I had to laugh because she's always falling asleep with her iPad. I come into the bedroom and she's crashed, and the iPad is either slipped out of her hands and fell off the bed, and we have carpeting, so I don't have to worry about it cracking, but, or she's laying, it's got it underneath the pillow or something. So it's ironic that, she doesn't want one of these, but maybe one will show up anyway. Some folks are doing a Kickstarter project, and they are introducing what's called the Aviator travel jib. And any of you that do any video stuff, you know how well a jib can really help you stabilize a shot and do some real cool things with it. This is a pretty cool Kickstarter event, and for $300 you can get a travel jib that will fit basically on your carry-on. So pretty cool stuff. I'll have that link up in the show notes for those of you that do pro video, or if you're a aspiring video or photographer. This is a great product that you may want to get involved with. All right, last few articles here. I'm going to blast through these relatively quickly. And one thing that I want you guys really to pay attention to, if you are trying to extend HDMI, the best way to do that, and especially if you're trying to extend an HDMI from where a TV is or something, or trying to go underneath carpet, they've got HDMI over Ethernet. And basically, this adapter extends connections up to 98 feet away and saves money. This thing is inexpensive. It's only $80, all right? It's available via Monoprice. This is one of my most... If you guys haven't been to Monoprice, first of all, let me bring up the website so that you guys just can see. Actually, I'm using the wrong browser, but I'll bring it up on this other one. Monoprice, don't ever buy a cable from anyone, anywhere, ever again. Okay? I've talked about these guys in the past. They obviously do a lot of volume. They have cheap stuff. So here's a 10-foot, 28-gauge, high-speed HDMI cable, $4.26. You're not going to get that, my friends, at any big box. I can guarantee. And it just goes on and on and on and on. Everything in this studio has been wired and rigged with cables, connectors, jacks, plugs from monoprice.com. Okay? They're not a sponsor here. I've ordered literally, well, matter of fact, I order too much because, you know, if you can get, for example, let me see if I can find, for example, I'm holding in my hand a 1/4-inch audio jack with a mini jack. Basically, it's an adapter. It goes from mini jack to a 1/4-inch. So, you know, these, you never know when you're going to need one of these. When you're having a little studio like I do and you have to run wires and stuff and patch people in and do different things, you oftentimes need one of these things. And these, you know, if you go to Radio Shack and buy this, it's like $8. And I think when I bought it from Monoprice, it was like 39 cents. So what I did is I bought 10. You know, I didn't buy one. I bought 10. So I have a, you know, like a little fishing tackle box that has all these connectors. My wife drives her crazy. She says, "What will you ever use those for?" And I'm like, you know, I got 10 for $4. You know, it's like, you know, it's like a geek sale. You know, that's what you do, right? When it's that inexpensive. And sometimes I'm looking at cables. I'm like, I don't know if I need a 1.5 footer, if I need a 2.5 foot. And I hate to say it, I'll just buy both. And it's still much cheaper than even what one cable would be. And I get the right length. And, you know, I throw them into I've got a couple of buckets now that's got cables in them. And I know that if I ever need a different cable, I'll just go dig around. I use it someday. And if not, I'm still saving money from using their website. So monoprice.com, one of the best sites out there. But getting back to this HDMI extender, it's by Monoprice, and it's a way to extend your HDMI cable, you know, and 98 feet for, you know, $4. Excuse me, $18 is what it costs. So you're going to need two of those, one on each end, but still, I'm sure they send it as a kit. And let's look, they got a link here on the webpage. So, yeah, a pair. Single pair's $18. If you buy two, they give it to you two for $17. And they even got the Cat 5 and Cat 6 cables right there for you to buy. You know, and just give you an example, the Cat 6 cables on this page. If you want to order, okay, let's look at the length. Let's go to a long one. That's 25-footer, a 25-foot Cat 6 cable, $4.44. You know, you go into, you know, a major big box, and that's $50. So this is the place to go. And you guys can tell I'm passionate about monoprice.com. As much, I'm just going to send them tens of thousands of dollars worth of business. So make sure you tell them in your comment section, I heard about you guys at Geek News Central. All right, how many of you are taking, let's really switch gears here and move through the last stack of stuff. How many of you have take medications during the day? Well, there's an app out there called Pillboxy that reminds you to take your medication whenever you need it. The article is over at lifehacker.com. So I'll have that up in the show notes for you tonight. Don't forget, gncshownotes.com is where all the show notes are at. Microsoft is talking about buying the company Yammer. They are a maker of internal social networks for companies, so we'll see if they follow through on that. If you are thinking about hiring a foreign worker, the U.S. government basically said that all the slots for 2013 H-1B visas have been filled. 85,000 visas have been filled. So if you're trying to get here in the United States on an H-1B visa, forget it. It's not happening. The folks over at ours have a great face-up of the MacBook Pro versus the MacBook Air. So they go through and look at each one of these. And I'm looking through this. I'm like, okay, let's give it a try here. CPU advantage, MacBook Pro. GPU is a draw. RAM is a draw. Storage, of course, goes to MacBook Pro. Display was a draw. Ports, believe it or not, basically just a little bit of edge on MacBook Pro because they have more. SuperDrive, MacBook Pro. Weight is MacBook Air. Battery life is a draw. And, of course, options. They do say the advantage, of course, is MacBook Pro, but you look at these two computers and you look at this head-to-head and makes you go, So if you're in the market, definitely check out this head-to-head article over Ars Technica that will be up in the show notes again. All right, you're going to notice when you log into Facebook next time, there's going to be a little logo on the top of your profile. And what they want to do is they want users to enter their cell phone numbers, and they're trying to bolster security. This is an article over on Social Network. But they're trying to get people to protect their accounts a little more, and they're asking you to provide your telephone number, your mobile telephone number, which I guess for those of you who want to give it, you can. T-Mobile's been updating its networks, making improvements to LTE. So just 3 short months since they announced a deal with cell technology company Ericsson and Nokia that are planning to bump $4 billion into its network. They are expected to have 400 cell sites upgraded with the latest HSPA Plus by the end of the month, with 2,500 being completed by July. So T-Mobile is making major moves, trying to get their network up to speed and move faster. How many of you saw that talked about those Verizon basic, I want to call them a family plan or shared plans? I showed those to my wife, thought she would get excited about them, and she's not at all excited about the shared data, shared mobile plans. She says, just look. I added it up, and it's $180 is what it would be for 3 phones with the features we need. She says, we got 3 phones on T-Mobile right now. We're paying less than $100. Why do we switch? And, so I kind disagree with that. But, the kids are complaining. They want to be on data. They're teenagers. And I said, sorry, Charlie, you have to wait to get on the internet at home or grab the iPad from mom when you're in the car. Other than that, text. That's what you do best. All right, Nokia is cutting 10,000 jobs to streamline costs. Boy, their backs are really up against the wall, aren't they? They're in big trouble here. Microsoft is planning to make an announcement this coming Monday, June 18th. They're not really saying what they're doing, but sources are saying it has to do with Windows RT. This is for ARM-based tablets that Microsoft will be showing off devices running the operating system, as well as some of the programs and services that will be available on them. So we'll keep you advised on that. Apple's also said to have filed a patent on the iPhone where they want to be able to basically allow you to swap out the lens. This is an article that was over on Engadget. Let me actually bring this thing up here. So they're basically showing this patent application where you could actually change out the lens. And so that's kind of an interesting move by Apple. I think time will tell on how that works out and whether or not they'll actually let people do that. I can't imagine that they would, but stranger things have happened for sure. We already talked about it earlier, but Skype for Windows, Mac, and Linux have gotten updates today, so you'll have updates there. Oh, that's a double article. Why did I do that? You guys know that I was heavily involved in the aviation community before I retired from the Navy, and I've been watching stuff going on. I got to see an F-22 fly last year, and that Raptor. Oh my goodness, what a machine it is! But the folks over at Wired are talking about this jet, and boy, I tell you, the aviators in it are, basically guinea pigs at this point. It appears that the new jet is essentially choking pilots. They're and have a high number of pilots are getting hypoxia in flight. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Getting hypoxia in a fighter aircraft where you are on your own is not a good thing. I mean, this is a recipe for huge disasters. And for those of you that don't know, what happens is when you get above 10,000 feet, there's obviously less oxygen in the air. If you're not getting enough O2 being pushed to you by the aircraft environmental system, essentially what happens is you can pass out and get tunnel vision. It's not good. Just imagine, being on top of the, 35,000 feet and the O2 system breaks and, you're going to sleep. And when you go to sleep, the airplanes do strange things. So, the Air Force is working through this. There was a couple of whistleblowers that got in trouble. But I keep you advised as this develops. But, I guess they're flying the Raptor again. But sad business here. How much do we spend for these things? $377 million or something like that. It's, not a cheap airplane to build. $377 million. When I saw it fly, though, I understand why it cost what it cost. I would not want to be on the receiving end of a dogfight. If you were someone else, you're going to lose. If you're up against one of these things and the pilot can actually breathe. So anyway, very cool stuff. All right, let me go ahead and look in my email here. What do we have? We have any comments come in? There was nothing that came into the hotline, but I do want to point out that one of our Tech Podcast members over Another Damn Podcast, and he does a show about digital asset management. And he's hit his 100th podcast, and it's at Another Damn, DAM, podcast.com. So, Henrik, congratulations on reaching show 100. I got an email here from Christopher. He says, "Hey, Todd, I completely agree with that. I completely agree with you about Apple killing the 17-inch MacBook. Personally, I hate when people complain that it's too big. Just as you said, when you're on the road a lot, you sometimes want that big screen with more real estate. It's not like you can lug your desktop and home monitor everywhere you go, although I've seen that happen. Really, when you think about it, I would think that laptops should get larger rather than smaller, especially since tablets are starting to become the mainstream. Bottom line, if you travel and want more powerful and portable machines, go for a laptop with a nice screen size. If you're simply looking for portability, then use a tablet. Just my opinion, Chris. Chris, you and I are mano di mano. We're right there together. Some people don't like carrying that big laptop. I hate looking at a small screen for 2 or 3 weeks while on the road. It sucks. I mean, it really, really does. And, I've got a huge monitor here in the studio in front of me. I'm all about big, when it comes to, being able to see great graphics and doing video editing. I don't like to squint and be hunched over and have to be, too close to a screen monitor. I got an email from Tim. He says, very exciting. Voyager 1 probe set to leave our solar system. Now, we know this has been happening. We've reported on this a couple of times. There's an article over on the Atlantic that he sent me and is talking about as it's going through the heliosphere and so forth. So, what they're seeing is a sharp uptick in the number of a certain kind of energetic particles around it. And they think that we are very, very close. And what's going to happen here is Voyager is essentially going to go into deep space. And today, Voyager 1 is about 121 astronomical units. And basically, that's the rough distance from the sun to the Earth. So it's basically 121 times the distance between here and the sun. And it takes 16 hours for the radio signals it transmits to reach us. And Voyager 2 is only about 22 astronomical units. And it's traveling at about 17 kilometers per second or 38,000 miles per hour. So this is exciting stuff. And I'm sure, we're going to see, and there's plenty of power on board Voyager 1. But they really think that Voyager 1 has left the heliosphere, the absence of those energy particles that don't leave our system and change in the magnetic field have not happened yet, but there's been a decrease. So it's not zero, but it's close. But scientists are holding with bated breath, and the Voyagers, man, just think about what they have been able to accomplish in their mission so far. Exciting, exciting stuff. I got an email here from Richard. He said, "Hey, buddy, Richard here again. Apple said during the keynote the reason they had to change a smaller MagSafe adapter is because of the Retina display. Reason being is they had to pack in double the battery pack size, which left them having to re-engineer the rest of the guts of the computer. And with that said, the new MacBook Pro is almost half as thin as the current 2011 model. One of the guys that gave the introduction to the new model MacBook held his fingers up to the side of the machine, and the computer was thinner than the width of his index finger. That is the reason they had to change it. They had no other choice." He says, "Thanks for the show. As always, love the podcast." Richard, thanks for that. Appreciate it. And he says, also, if you didn't watch a keynote, you have to see the beginning. It was absolutely hilarious. They used Siri to pound Android in the dirt. I did not get a chance to check that. I'll look it out. All right, I think that's it. Of course, if you have comments on tonight's show, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. Voicemail hotline is 619-342-7365. Open and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Of course, my name is Todd Cochran. I'm the host here at Geek News Central. It's been my pleasure to bring you the show. We don't want you to forget. Make sure to remember our sponsor, GoToMeeting. Get over to GoToMeeting.com, click the try a free button, and use the promo code podcast. And GoDaddy.com. Visit geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Check out all the great products and services we have available for you. And we want to thank all of you. We'll be back here on Saturday for Saturday Morning Tech, bright and early, 6 a.m. Honolulu Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern. We'll have some tech dignitaries on board. Got to send some invites out. Should have a great show. It's been a while since we did one of these. And we'll be firing up the old Ohanasaurus back there. We'll come in HD living color. And we'll get some use out of that investment I made in upgrading that part of the show. Hey, I want to thank all of you for being here. And as always, we try to break down tech for the common man and make it sensible, and let me pack in my opinions and commentary. If you have comments, again, drop me an email. We thank you. Everyone take care. We'll see you next time. Aloha.